If you like storytime vibes, hit subscribe and let's dive in together.
I used to think marriages end with a slammed door, a violent argument, or a confession soaked in tears. I never imagined mine would begin to die with a piece of lace spinning through the air like a feather set on fire. I saw the panties before I saw the hand that threw them. Black lace, a small ribbon at the top. They twisted in slow motion, catching the golden party lights before landing at my shoes as gently as a leaf drifting to the ground. For a moment, my mind refused to understand what I was looking at. My brain reached for any explanation that didn't involve my wife. But then came the voice, smooth, dripping with cruelty. Looks like Ava won't be needing those tonight. Laughter erupted, mean, cutting, the kind that strips the skin off a man's pride. I didn't look up right away. I just stared numbly at the fabric, the lace she wore on nights. She said she wanted to feel special for me. The memory punched the air out of my lungs. When I finally lifted my head, I saw Lucas, my supervisor, my mentor, the man who toasted our 8th anniversary with us, smirking, whiskey glass in hand. His eyes held a mocking glint, a silent dare. Do something. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. The world had gone muffled, as if I were underwater. Lucas leaned closer, breath hot with alcohol. She said you knew. Then he winked. Something inside me lurched, a nauseating twist of disbelief and silently blooming rage. I tried to speak, to deny, to breathe, anything, but my chest felt locked. Around us, the crowd shifted nervously, pretending not to watch. I turned sharply, searching for Ava. She wasn't in the room. Her phone sat abandoned on a table, a message banner glowing across the screen. Do not make me send it. Midnight. Hallway B. Alone. My pulse stopped. Not slowed. Stopped. My thoughts shattered, then reformed into something dark. Confused. Terrified. Why would anyone send her a message like that? And why would Lucas throw those panties unless... That's when the cold realization slid into me like a blade. This wasn't the beginning of a joke. This was the beginning of a truth I was never meant to see. The music thumped against my skull as I stepped away from the crowd, the lace still lying at my feet like a corpse. My legs were weak, my hands trembling. I didn't know it then, but that single piece of fabric was not proof of betrayal. It was a cry for help I had failed to hear. I walked away from the party, though I didn't remember telling my legs to move. The hallway outside was dim, lined with framed company photos, handshakes, award ceremonies, team smiles. They suddenly looked grotesque, like masks covering something rotten underneath. Hallway B. I saw it ahead of me, like a throat about to swallow me whole. I heard 2 voices before I saw anyone, one trembling, one sharp as broken glass. Ava, Lucas. Her whisper cracked like thin ice. Please. I did what you asked. You said it was the last time. Last time? My heart slammed against my ribs. Not anger now. Something worse. A dawning horror. Lucas's reply came low and controlled. You think I forgot what I have? One link. That's all it takes. Your husband sees that video and your little perfect life? Gone. My breath stopped. Video? I gripped the wall, not to collapse. My mind clawed through memory, searching for an explanation, a reason, anything. But all I found was the sickening realization that for months, maybe longer, my wife had been living in a nightmare I never saw. Ava's voice broke again. You promised you'd delete it. That night, he was drunk, and I just came to take him home, and you... She couldn't finish. My vision blurred. I didn't need the details. I understood. Lucas hadn't seduced my wife. He had taken something from her. Violently, mercilessly, and weaponized it. I tasted iron in my mouth. I didn't know if it was rage or grief. I stepped forward. My shoes scraped the floor. Silence. Ava turned first. Her eyes widened, filled not with guilt, but with pure, devastating terror. She looked like someone drowning without water, choking on memories no one else could see. Lucas turned next, shoulders tensing. Well, well, he muttered. Looks like our man of the year decided to join us. I didn't look at him. I looked at her, my wife, the woman I vowed to protect, and all I could think was, I wasn't there. God, I wasn't there for her. Ava shook her head desperately, tears streaking her cheeks. No, you weren't supposed to know. I could handle it. I just needed more time. More time to survive him, to pretend for me, to avoid breaking the man who was already breaking. My knees weakened. My voice, when it finally came, was nothing more than a wounded breath. Ava, what did he do to you? She flinched, not at his name, but at mine. Like my love was now another weight she couldn't carry. I saw it in her eyes, the truth, and it shattered me more violently than any betrayal could have. I didn't remember moving closer, only the sudden awareness that I was standing between Ava and Lucas, as if my body had finally remembered the vows my mind had forgotten. Ava kept shaking her head, like she could undo the moment simply by refusing to accept it. Ava, I said again, barely a whisper. Tell me. Her hands trembled so violently I could hear her bracelets clicking together. She wasn't looking at me anymore. She was staring at the floor, as if the tiles might split open and swallow her. It was the night of the promotion party, she finally said, voice thin and splintered. You drank too much. I came to get you. You were laughing. You didn't even know I was holding your arm. She swallowed a sob. I told you I'd drive you home. You said you could walk. I went back inside to get your keys and... Her breath caught. The hallway seemed to shrink around us. Lucas followed. Me, she whispered. He blocked the door. I thought he was joking. Then I realized he wasn't. My nails dug into my palms. Ava's voice warped, like she was sinking underwater. I froze. I couldn't think. I couldn't move. I just wanted to get back to you. And then he said if I screamed, he'd make sure you lost your job. He laughed like it was nothing. Like I was nothing. I stopped breathing. Then she said the words that shattered me. And when it was over, he held up his phone. He said he recorded everything, that he'd send it to everyone if I told you. If I told anyone. I felt the world tilt. I wanted to tear the building apart, to kill Lucas with my bare hands. Violence surged inside me like a storm breaking loose. I took one step toward him. Ava grabbed my arm. No, if you do anything now, he'll release it. He'll destroy both of us. The sickest part? She was right. She had been surviving him, not obeying him. She had been protecting me, and I didn't even know. Lucas smirked, lifting his glass again. Smart woman. Shame she had to waste herself on you. My vision went red, but I didn't move. Not forward. Not yet. Because at that moment, I made a promise. Not for revenge, but for justice. I'm going to end you, I said quietly, but I'll do it the right way. And when it happens, you won't see it coming. Lucas's smirk faltered, only for a heartbeat. But I saw it. A crack. A fear he didn't know he had. Ava's knees weakened, and I caught her before she fell. The weight of what I missed crashed onto me all at once. She had been broken in silence, and I had called it betrayal. We left through the side exit, away from music and lights, and the cheap laughter of people who had no idea what kind of monster they were sharing a drink with. The cold night air should have revived me, but instead it felt like it was freezing the blood in my veins. Ava walked 3 steps ahead of me, arms wrapped around herself, as if she were holding together the pieces of a body that could fall apart at any second. I wanted to reach for her, but I didn't know if I deserved to. When we reached the car, she stopped. I didn't want you to look at me like this, she whispered. Like what? Like I'm ruined. Something in me cracked open. Ava, you're not ruined. No, she cut in, eyes glistening. He did that to me. But you not seeing it? That finished the job. I shut my eyes, breath shaking. She was right. I had missed the late night showers, the way she flinched at unexpected touches, the exhaustion in her voice when she said she was just tired. I had loved her, but I hadn't protected her. And that truth tasted worse than any betrayal I could have imagined. We drove home in silence. I didn't sleep. Ava didn't either. She sat on the edge of the bed, knees pulled to her chest, staring at nothing. At dawn, she finally said, "He made me meet him 3 more times. He didn't touch me again. He just wanted reminders that he owned my fear, that he could destroy us whenever he wanted." I felt sick. "Ava, we are going to the police." She looked at me for a long time before she nodded. That day, I called a lawyer. The same one people whispered about in the firm. The kind of attorney who only spoke when necessary, but took down men twice his size without blinking. We gathered everything legally obtainable: the message previews, Ava's testimony, her medical anxiety evaluations, her photo of the bruises he left on her wrist that night. Faint now, but real. It wasn't enough yet, but it was a beginning. 3 days later, the police contacted us. "They have his device," I told Ava as she sat at the kitchen table, fingers gripping a mug she wasn't drinking from. "They found multiple videos. He didn't just do this to you." Her shoulders trembled. By sunset, Lucas was in handcuffs. The headline spread through the company like wildfire. "Supervisor arrested on multiple assault charges." He looked small in the footage, nothing like the shadow that had lived in our house for months. Justice had begun, but justice is not the same thing as healing. Lucas was in custody. Reporters crowded the courthouse stairs. Statements were taken. Evidence was secured. And yet, nothing felt victorious. Some nights, I woke to the sound of Ava's breathing. Soft, uneven, like she was trying not to drown in memories. Other nights, she woke to mine, when I gasped from nightmares that weren't even mine to carry. We lived in the same house, but not inside the same silence. I tried to help. Therapy sessions, support groups, long walks where we didn't speak but didn't have to. And for a few fragile days, I believed we might survive this, until I realized survival wasn't the same as staying together. One morning, Ava sat beside me on the couch, hands folded tightly. "You did everything right," she whispered. "You saved me. You saved others. I should feel free now." I waited for the but. It came softly. "But when I look at you, I remember that night. I remember how I came to take you home, and my life ended instead." I closed my eyes. Her words weren't cruel. They were the truest thing she had left. "Ava," I said, voice breaking, "I should have seen you. I should have known something was wrong." "You couldn't have," she replied gently. "And I'm not angry at you. I just can't breathe inside the life we had before. Every corner of this house knows something I never wanted to remember. We didn't fight. We didn't accuse. We just held the truth between us like a glass too cracked to repair. When we signed the divorce papers, our hands shook. Not from doubt, but from the unbearable certainty that love had not been enough to save us from what had been done to her. No final embrace, no promises to return, just 2 signatures, side by side, like gravestones for the life we lost. Outside the courthouse, winter wind pushed down the street. Leaves scraped along the pavement like whispers trying to speak. I walked alone. My breath fogged the air. Then I saw it. Near a public trash bin, caught on the rim, was a scrap of black lace, torn, weather-worn, barely recognizable, but I knew what it was meant to remind me of: the beginning, the moment I thought she betrayed me, when in truth, she had been calling for help, and I had never heard her. I took 1 step toward it, then another, and then I let it be. Some things are not meant to be picked up again. I kept walking, not healed, not whole, but alive. Justice had found him. Freedom had found her. And I finally had found the truth. Sometimes survival is the only ending we get.